Hello, this is Tabia, and if you ever thought about making a garment in a Wollmeise yarn, then this is the video for you, because today I'm going to give you a long-term review of the Wollmeise DK. I made this tambourine in it and I finished it about 1.5 years ago, and I hope that by the end of the video you will know whether or not this yarn is something that you would like to invest your time and your money into and knit into a garment. So I want to start you off with some stats. I finished the cardigan in November 2016 and I have worn it a lot over the last 1.5 years. I used just under 2 skeins, and these are 200-gram skeins, so about 400 grams for this cropped cardigan, and they cost about 30 euros each. So the cost for the cardi was about 60 euros or $75. About the yarn itself, it's a 100% merino and it's a superwash and a 6-ply, which means that it consists of 6 single strands that are plied together. And I think the very defining thing of Wollmeise's yarn is that they are really roundly, quite heavily spun, so they feel almost a little bit plasticky. It doesn't have any halo to it at all, or like any fibers that stick out, but it's a really round, really smooth and really soft yarn. And it also is quite bouncy, I think. I know that there are a lot of people that think that it feels a little bit like cotton, but for me it feels like there is some bounce to the yarn after all. The fact that it's very roundly and very tightly spun means that there isn't so much air between the single plies, which in turn means that it isn't very warm. Now it's super cold in Sweden still. I have been wearing it to work today, but still it's not like if it would be -10, it wouldn't be something that would really heat you up, which can both be a good and a bad thing depending on your preferences. The combination of the spinning and the superwash makes that it has quite a special feel and look to it, and it doesn't really necessarily look like your typical wool garment. When I knitted with it, I quite liked it, and the thing that I enjoy is that if you would happen to knit a little bit unevenly or something, that it is pretty forgiving. So the fabric looks really smooth and really even, and like you couldn't see any major differences in the stitches themselves. So that is something that I quite enjoyed and I think looks really nice. In case you have problems with knitting unevenly, I also have a video on how to improve that. The worsted and the round spinning also makes that it has a very good stitch definition, which I think shows in the nubs here in the tambourine and also in the ribbing, and I think that the ribbing still is holding up quite well. So the bounciness that still is in the yarn pushes together the fabric and makes that it holds up pretty well in if you would do any, for example, knits and purl patterns. I think it would show really well, as well as cables, for example. I think it would be a good yarn for. Something that is more on the downside with the yarn is that it stretches quite a lot when washed. I had a look at my Ravelry notes and there I also wrote that it stretches, but now I also found my original swatch and I measured the gauge from the swatch that I made, and this is blocked. So even after blocking and compared it to the garment that I have been wearing for almost 2 years now, and the surprising thing is that the row gauge is not of so incredibly much. I had 32.5 rows in my gauge swatch, and in the cardigan now I counted 32 stitches, so even though it grew a little bit lengthwise, it's still not anything major. But the stitch gauge is a huge difference. This is insane. I could hardly believe it when I saw it. So in the gauge swatch I have 21.5 stitches, and in the cardigan I had 17. That's like, wow, it's like 4.5 stitches. That is so much. If you would be off for that in your garment, it's like, I don't know, several sizes. I increased a little bit in size since 1.5 years ago, so I think I'm quite happy. Maybe this was supposed to be, but if you would stay the same size and you would have a sweater that would grow so much, that would be insane. Like, you have no chance of pretending that or like accounting for that or whatever. So when you're making something, really try to block your swatch in the right way. I have seen like tips where you should hang your swatch and put some klädnypor, väskekloppen, anybody? Pegs, the things that you hang your clothes with, that you should use pegs for like pretending it's a cardigan that would weigh the swatch down, or like the rest of the garment. But as it didn't grow so much lengthwise, but in the breadth, maybe, I don't know. I'm just thinking that maybe it's also because like just the cardigan grew with me together and I'm closing it from time to time. So maybe that's also a reason, but still, I mean, that would also show that it can stretch out when you stretch it, and maybe just doesn't retract itself too much again. So that's definitely something to watch out for. In regards to the overall durability, I am really pleased with how well it holds up. And if you compare it to other non-superwash or even superwash yarns, something that a lot of people dislike is pilling, of course, and this one I feel really looks like the first day. There's not a single pill on it. I have never shaved it. It just looks like in the beginning, and I don't think that you can tell that I have been wearing it for a couple of years almost, and worn it once a week in winter time. So that's something that I'm really happy with, and why I would recommend the yarn, actually, because I think that's just really nice that it looks as if I would have cast it off yesterday, basically. Also, in regards to construction, I said that the yarn can stretch quite a lot, but in the shoulders here I used backstitch because I just didn't know any better to set in the sleeve, and I think that maybe could have been quite a good idea because it's a very sturdy seam, and I feel like the shoulders have still hold up their shape pretty well. So it feels like that was a good call, and I think overall the shape of the garment, even though it obviously has changed, I think the shape of the garment is still quite pleasing to me. And as I said, my body has changed as well, so well, could be a good thing also that the garment changed together with me. So to sum it up, my final thoughts: I'm really happy with the cardigan. I still love it and I still wear it a lot. I love the color. I know that the camera will not really pick it up properly, but it's this really nice blue tone with a kind of a green hue to it, which I really love. I love a cropped cardigan, so that's something I like, and as I said, as the yarn really looks so nice, I'm still able to wear it at work even, so that's something that is pretty nice. So it's time for the rating, and I want to give Wollmeise DK 4 out of 5 skeins. For the reasons that I said, I love how it holds up, but that it stretches so much is something that is on the downside. And when you buy it, you really have to know that it is a quite particular yarn. It can look a little bit more on the plasticky side, although it is merino, but when you're fine with that, I think it is a great yarn for making sweaters or cardigans. Thank you very much for watching today. If you have made a sweater or a cardigan or anything else in Wollmeise, then please let me know in the comments down below what you thought about the yarn, so we can have some more opinions down there and have a conversation going on. If you like this video, then maybe you also want to check out my 2 previous videos in the series, which were about Cascade 220 Sport and BC Garn Simila Fino. You can also find me on Instagram, where I'm at Tambourine, and otherwise I will see you in a new video next week. Thank you, bye bye!